Ever wonder what would happen if your weekend beer run suddenly became a felony? Welcome to a reality where America's favorite social lubricant is about as legal as heroin. Imagine you're sitting in Congress right now, pen hovering over the most controversial bill of the century. One signature transforms every bar, every brewery, every wine mom's Tuesday into a criminal enterprise. What's your move? How do you tell 300 million people that their champagne toasts are now punishable by prison time? With a really good PR campaign, or by pretending it's for their own good? Here's the thing, we've actually been here before. From 1920 to 1933, America tried this exact experiment. It didn't just fail, it created an empire of crime that would make Breaking Bad look like a bake sale. Picture the logistics for a second. Every liquor store, gone. Every vineyard, shuttered overnight. That's roughly 600,000 jobs evaporating faster than vodka in the summer sun. But wait, it gets better. Remember how much tax revenue alcohol generates? We're talking about $40 billion annually that suddenly disappears from state and federal budgets. Schools, roads, public services, all scrambling for funding while Uncle Sam pretends this was a great idea. Now imagine you're an entrepreneur, but the legal kind just became impossible. You've got warehouses full of premium scotch that's now worthless or worth everything, depending on how flexible your morals are. What's the play? The black market doesn't just appear, it explodes. Within weeks, your friendly neighborhood pharmacist becomes a bootlegger. That guy who sells organic vegetables at the farmer's market, he's now running moonshine in his garage. Cue the dramatic music and the inevitable turf wars. Organized crime doesn't waste time debating ethics. They're too busy dividing territories and calculating profit margins that would make Silicon Valley jealous. Here's where it gets darkly comedic. Law enforcement, already stretched thin, now has to prioritize busting birthday parties and wedding receptions. That speeding ticket you got last year? Officer Friendly's now kicking down doors looking for contraband Chardonnay. The prison system, currently housing about 2 million people, suddenly needs to accommodate millions more. We're talking about grandmas doing time for serving wine at Thanksgiving, college kids facing felonies for what used to be a citation. Meanwhile, people don't just stop drinking because Congress said so. They get creative. Bathtub gin makes a comeback, except now it's bathtub everything, and some of it's genuinely poisonous. Emergency rooms start seeing a new wave of patients. Methanol poisoning, toxic home brews, all because regulatory oversight vanished along with legal alcohol. The death toll starts climbing, but hey, at least it's illegal death toll. Some folks argue this is progress, that we're finally treating alcohol like the dangerous drug it scientifically is. They've got charts, statistics, studies showing alcohol kills 95,000 Americans annually. They're not wrong about the numbers. Others call it the greatest government overreach in modern history. Personal freedom advocates lose their minds. The same people who fought mask mandates are now organizing underground speakeasies in their basements. The pharmaceutical industry watches this unfold with barely concealed glee. Suddenly, anxiety medications and sleep aids become the legal alternatives. Prescriptions skyrocket. Big pharma stock prices do a happy dance. International relations get weird too. Mexico and Canada become the new party destinations. Cross-border traffic increases by absurd percentages. Customs agents are now the most hated people in North America. European tourists arrive in America confused and disappointed. They came for the American experience and found out the experience is now technically a crime. Tourism revenue takes a nosedive. The restaurant industry implodes. Fine dining establishments that built their reputation on wine pairings suddenly have the appeal of expensive cafeterias. Entire culinary traditions built around alcohol simply cease to exist. Religious institutions face an existential crisis. Communion wine is sacramental, but also Schedule 1. Churches have to choose between federal law and centuries of tradition. Some comply, some don't, and suddenly the DEA is raiding Sunday services. As public backlash intensifies, politicians start backpedaling with impressive gymnastics. They propose amendments, exceptions, medical, alcohol cards, anything to stop the hemorrhaging approval ratings. But the damage is done. Innovation finds its way, just like it always does. People engineer alcohol-free alternatives that technically aren't alcohol, but produce similar effects. The FDA plays whack-a-mole with new compounds, while lawyers argue chemical semantics in court. Underground culture flourishes in ways that make the 1920s look quaint. Secret bars require 3 passwords and a background check. The mystique, the danger, the rebellion, it makes drinking more appealing than ever. 5 years in, the government's spent hundreds of billions enforcing this law. Crime rates haven't dropped, alcohol use hasn't stopped, but prison populations have tripled, and organized crime controls more territory than ever before. Despite mountains of evidence showing this experiment failed spectacularly once already, some officials double down. They claim we just need harsher penalties, more enforcement, bigger budgets. The cycle intensifies. Here's the beautiful irony. Making something illegal doesn't make it disappear. It just removes all the safety rails and hands the profit to criminals. That's the lesson we apparently need to learn twice. That's Prohibition 2.0 in all its chaotic glory. But here's the twist. Parts of this nightmare already exist for other substances, and we're still debating whether we learned anything the first time around.